think there'll ever be another Darcelle.
Darcelle's been in this for the long haul. Darcelle is the oldest drag queen in America.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's so nice.
There's a lot of freedom today that came from other people that broke through the barriers, and Darcelle was one of those people.
An absolute legend. For nearly half a century, Darcelle has performed 6 shows a week, hosted countless fundraisers.
And thanks to your attendance tonight at $500 for Camp KC.
Mayors come and go, political figures come and go, but Darcelle's like a mascot to the city.
The entire community accepts her. And by accepting Darcelle, they accept all of us.
Funding for Oregon Experience is provided by Arlene Schnitzer and Jordan Schnitzer, the Oregon Cultural Trust, the Clark Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.
The only reason I'm here, Darcelle.
Yeah, it's a free show.
Shades of showbiz.
All right. This next performer has been doing female impersonation for a few years.
A couple.
She's an institution, and this show would not be this show without her. Please give it up for Darcelle XV!
In 1967, 37-year-old Portland businessman Walter Cole purchased a tiny rundown tavern in Old Town.
The first day I walked in, I looked at this. It was nothing in this room except a bar and, and some raggedy booze. And I said, uh-oh, and I started to cry. I said, oh, boy, what have I done? I had no idea that we'd be a show bar and no idea that I would be dressing in costumes and working on the stage.
But that is exactly what he and his partner Roxy Newhart have been doing for nearly 50 years.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Walter presents That's No Lady, that's Darcelle XV and Company. Welcome to Christian Mingle.
You haven't really been a Portland person until you've come to Darcelle's show.
Whereas, together we gather in celebration on occasion of Darcelle XV's 85th birthday. Whereas Darcelle's rhinestone cowboy knows no equal in the entertainment world. Now, therefore, I, Charlie Hales, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, do hereby proclaim Darcelle Day and encourage everyone to party to celebrate Darcelle.
There was a time when I would never even stand up in front of the class and talk.
Walter, as Darcelle, is the oldest performing female impersonator in the United States. And the club named for her, Darcelle XV, is the oldest continuously running drag revue west of the Mississippi.
It's not really just a drag bar, it's Darcelle's, and people know. It's like, it's been here. Like, their parents talk about it, their grandparents talk about it.
Why Portland? Why not Portland? My family's here. I've lived here my entire life, and I love it. Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Long before there was Darcelle, there was Walter, a self-proclaimed four-eyed sissy boy from the mill town of Linton.
I hated school because it's pretty hard to be a little bit different there. And there weren't the names that we have now for gay.
Born in 1930, Walter was an only child. His father earned about $1 a day working in mill ponds in the lumber yards. Sometimes, Walter and his mother would take the streetcar into Portland for a movie. One of his favorites was Gone with the Wind.
Part of the movie that stuck right in my head was when she stood up and then she said, "I'll never be hungry again." And it grabbed me, and I said, "Well, you've got to fight for it."
We have two brides. Where's the... Come right down here. Come right down here. You know, I'm so happy and proud that you're getting married. So beautiful, both of you. But things don't always work the way it's supposed to be. So indeed, if there is a problem along the way, call Darcelle, because I can tell you how to get that diamond out of that ring in 30 seconds. Any questions that you'd like to know about Darcelle and Company? It's your turn. What would you like to know? How old am I? 85.
No, I don't want to retire. I enjoy so much, so I have a good time. And I still can talk, and I still can walk. I can still get myself on stage.
Hoof, please. So I'm going to put you in this just to see what it looks like.
That's a must. I have a lot of help from my cast.
I like the hair. Okay.
They take care of me.
Nova. Liza Minnelli.
Some of the performers in the show have been with Darcelle for decades.
Summer season. Mr. Mitchell.
I'm the show coordinator
35 years at Darcelle XV.
and have been for quite a while. I work Monday through Friday at another job. This is my fun job. This is where I come to escape from the real world. I'm an attention whore. I enjoy the whole atmosphere. When the crowd applauds for you, it makes you feel good. You know, you're doing a good job.
Through the years, Darcelle XV has become a rite of passage,
Rich man, rich man.
popular these days for bachelorette and birthday parties.
Thank you very much. Hello. How are you? Fine. How are you? Thank you.
Female impersonation has been part of theater since ancient Greece and continues today in a wide variety of styles, including modern drag divas.
Just call my name. I'll be there in a hurry.
I started drag in 1988. I feel like it came out at such a great time. Like, drag was everywhere, but not mainstream. It was everywhere if you knew where to look.
I've been doing drag and been entertaining for the past 11 years. Makeup is my thing. This is my strong suit when it comes to getting in drag. I enjoy it. It's the most creative part.
A female impersonator dresses up like a woman for a performance.
I talk to Darcelle as she, because we are talking as Darcelle, the character. And boy, is she a character.
This is Darcelle the light drink. You buy one, you take the glass home. You buy 6, you take Darcelle home.
The Pope will be happy.
Mwah.
Let's do a selfie. I learned that word finally.
When you talk about Darcelle, as Darcelle, you refer to her as she, and if you talk as Darcelle, as Walter, then you refer to him as him.
The terms can be confusing, and language, of course, evolves. Traditionally, female impersonators were professional male actors, while drag can be anybody dressing in costume. There are drag kings and drag queens who are usually, but not always, gay or lesbian.
I'm a drag queen. She's a woman.
Oh, I see.
Basically, assume nothing. Identity terms for sexuality and gender are personal and mean different things to different people.
Oh my God, I'm gorgeous.
I don't want to impersonate a female. I want to impersonate a drag queen. which may be impersonating a female. I don't, it's just, they're all terms.
I used to have people say, well, you'd really look more like a woman if you do regular makeup. Well, I'm not a woman, I'm a man, and don't want to be a woman. I want to be a caricature.
In 2010, at age 80, Walter took off the makeup for a one-man show, Just Call Me Darcelle.
The first time I put on a dress, I was 37 years old.
Opening up about deeply personal issues, including the night his mother died when he was just 9 years old.
I walked into the living room just in time to see two men in suits pushing a bed with wheels on it out the front door, and Madeline said that was my mother. She's in a bag! They're taking my mommy away in a bag! In a bag! In a bag! I lost my mother. And I knew that night I lost my father too.
He was an alcoholic, and he pulled away from me. My Aunt Lil came in to live with us to take care of me, and it was a good thing she did, because she was a wonderful woman.
At age 19, he married his high school girlfriend, Jean.
At that time, if you'd had the money, you went to college. If you had no money, which we didn't, you got married. So we got married.
After serving in the military, Walter and Jean started a family. For nearly 20 years, they led a typical life. Walter buried himself in his work, doing a full-time job at Fred Meyer during the day and operating a series of small businesses on the side.
I wanted more than just work for somebody else, and I bought the first coffee house in Portland. First espresso machine north of San Francisco at the time. This is about 55, 56.
His businesses were often in rundown parts of town. 3 times he was forced to move due to urban renewal. Then, in 1967, he purchased a tavern on Northwest 3rd Avenue and hired a popular lesbian bartender who brought her own crowd of customers.
And the lesbian community, just flocked to the Demas Tavern because there really wasn't any other place for us to go. It was a very frightening time to be gay at that time.
I'm so happy you're here.
In this North Portland home, early activists gather to reminisce. They all remember a time when homosexuality was still listed as a mental illness, homosexual acts were illegal, and harassment was a part of life.
And if you were down in Eugene, you were still running risks of bar raids in those days. If we were lucky, the bar owner would get a 5-minute warning that the police were on the way, and everybody just dropped their drinks and head out as fast as they could before the police got there.
Police could arrest people for things like wearing the wrong clothes or same-sex couples dancing together. Newspapers wrote inflammatory stories and printed names and photos. Careers and lives were destroyed. But change was coming. By the late 1960s, gay bars played an essential role in the growing gay rights movement.
The bar culture was absolutely important. It was the center of our existence. We raised our money, got our membership. We didn't have many venues to meet, and the bars became community centers more than just bars.
In Portland, gay bars were generally safe from raids compared to many other cities.
The police department felt and argued that it was better to keep gay bars open so that the police could keep tabs on the gay population.
It was at the popular gay bar, the Doll and Penny, where Walter met Roxy Newhart, then known as Rock.
He was a very handsome young man. There was a click that happened. I don't know. Light switch went on like that. I don't know. But what do you say? Love at first sight? Maybe.
Rock was a dancer at the Hoyt Hotel's Roaring Twenties room.
I was enamored with Fred Astaire, who was one of the great tap dancers and dancers of the time. I just knew, I want to do that. I just have to be that.
He'd been in elaborate shows in Las Vegas and Los Angeles when promoter Gracie Hansen offered him a job in Portland. It was supposed to last just a few weeks.
And so, in the meantime, comes Mr. Walter Cole, who came and saw me in the show. He said, I'd like to have you come over to my club, which was not a real club back in those days. It was just a single room with no stage whatsoever.
And it wasn't a stage, it was a 4x8 banquet table.
To bring in customers, Roxy suggested something he had seen in San Francisco.
I told him then, I said, okay, you're never going to sell any kind of a show as Walter on stage. So he would become a character. He had done local theater, so he knew how to be on a stage and knew how to act.
Oh, the first time Roxy got me dressed up, it was 2 hours. Sat there for 2 hours. I thought, this is impossible.
They patterned the character after Roxy's boss, the larger-than-life Gracie Hansen.
And she ran for governor. Her slogan was, the best governor money can buy.
Once the character was created, she needed a unique name.
I was many names. And finally, one day, my partner, Roxy, said, you can't have Alice or Mary. You're just too big and too overjeweled and too much hair. Roxy worked with a B star in movies in Vegas, and her name was Denise Darcelle, and that became my name. Darcelle can do and say anything, and has, and gotten away with it.
Ladies, just shut your mouths over there.
While Darcelle could do anything, Walter's life was much more complicated. After meeting Roxy, Walter told his wife Jean that he was gay.
It was hard. I didn't want to lie anymore. I changed the way I was living because I was not happy the way I was living. I love her, and we're still close friends.
Is this true?
Who'd you pick up?
Yeah.
And it's working.
So now we want to welcome to the stage Darcelle's family. So we have Amanda and Meredy and Sarah, Darcelle's daughter and the granddaughters.
One granddaughter is a waitress.
Learning the family business has been something that's special to me.
And son, Walter Jr., JR, has worked in the bar for nearly 30 years.
The Crown Prince of 3rd Avenue.
Roxy and Darcelle began performing regular drag shows in 1971.
I remember the beers were 20 cents, the pool was 25 cents, and the popcorn was free.
I would sit in the back and I would watch the show and I would think, this is wonderful.
I arrived in Portland in 1970. I was taken by a friend to what was then Demas's. And I just fell in love with them.
Friends joined them on stage, lip-syncing to popular songs. Roxy choreographed, and Walter made the costumes.
Because we didn't have costumes at the beginning, so we had to, we had to make costumes like every week so we could get a wardrobe put together. The first costumes I made was I just put a piece of fabric on the floor and got down and cut it out and sewed it up, and it was a dress. I made 20s costume. Elizabethan look. I purled the pattern one at a time. I used to make all hats for everything I made. There. Flits. It has to shine. It's a neat thing. I like this part of it just as well as I do on stage. Some of the feathers are boas and some of them are fans. Still a good fan. And this is where I spend hours. There we go. This is my fishing trip, to get away from people, whatever. No, this is what I do. Much fun, much fun.
Thousands of rhinestones make up one of the most cherished of all of the costumes. Today, it holds a place of honor in their house.
The dress, it weighs a lot. The hair weighed 30 pounds. Very difficult to wear, but when you know it's a beautiful look, you can put up with it.
This is the dress Darcelle wore in 1974 when she stepped down as Empress of the Imperial Sovereign Rose Court. It's a drag pageant that began in Portland in the 1950s. Darcelle was its 15th Empress. In honor of the title, she renamed her club Darcelle XV. That same pageant continues today as an international event.
The contestants for La Femme Magnifique 1983.
In the early 1980s, Darcelle and Roxy started another pageant as a fundraiser, La Femme Magnifique.
35 years, Roxy, you and I have been doing this.
Yes.
Elaborate pageants like this are popular with many in the drag community.
About $600 with the boas on it just right now. 3,000 rhinestones on it.
It's amazing.
Completely designed this one from scratch just last week. Just putting the finishing touches on now, and hopefully it'll be ready by showtime tonight.
At times, drag queens have been criticized for being too outrageous and degrading to both women and gay men.
For many years, many women and many men saw them as flaunting themselves and making fun of women.
But through the years, Portland has embraced its iconic drag queen, as mainstream society discovered a whole new glittering world most had never experienced before.
Well, you're my favorite.
They caught on to the whole thing, and then they'd bring moms in to watch this wild show. Pretty soon, dads started coming in with mom to see what's going on down here.
For 5 days a week, we did 3 shows a night. It was like being hit with a 2x4 when you got through.
Those shows introduced straight audiences to drag queens and a wider gay culture.
Darcelle, through her fabulous personality, is an ambassador to the straight community in her own way. In helping us, Darcelle understood the need for legislation and helped us do fundraisers for Portland Town Council.
In 1974, the Portland Town Council became the first state umbrella group dedicated to civil rights for lesbians and gay men. Legislation was introduced, organizations were formed, and the media started paying attention.
We love Susie. We accept her totally. We also recognize that many of our friends and hers have an orientation different from our heterosexual one, which doesn't really matter.
It was a time of dramatic change and possibility, but a new threat was looming. In the 1980s, gay men started getting sick.
It had just gotten a name. They wanted to call it GRID, Gay-Related Immune Deficiency, and we had to fight against that, and so they called it AIDS.
Across the country, HIV and AIDS decimated the gay community.
AIDS epidemic would be the worst time we ever had. Every week, we would hear from somebody that died from AIDS.
The community united in its efforts to support those afflicted. Still, since 1981, about 4,000 people have died from HIV and AIDS in Oregon. For Walter, the AIDS epidemic became a turning point. He focused his energies on fundraising, rarely turning down an event.
As a community leader, Darcelle has volunteered countless hours, the use of her club and her celebrity status to further fundraising efforts and to promote outreach, awareness, and the care for people living with HIV and AIDS.
This epidemic hit. There were no facilities, nothing to help our friends who were ill. There was a need for food,
clothing, and need for a place that they could go to die with dignity.
The Word of God says that homosexuality is an abomination and a detestable act.
All nations on the face of the earth have got some types of laws that restrict homosexual behavior.
We had become very strong, and a backlash grew. And we certainly faced more of that backlash than any other state.
In 1992, the Oregon Citizens Alliance sponsored Ballot Measure 9.
All governments in Oregon may not use their monies or properties to promote, encourage, or facilitate homosexuality. These behaviors are abnormal, wrong, unnatural, and perverse, and they are to be discouraged and avoided.
Measure 9 was defeated, but the OCA would continue to back other statewide and local measures.
We've had 35 anti-gay ballot measures in Oregon. With no way to prove it, but I doubt if any state has ever had anywhere near that many.
The efforts to defeat those ballot measures unified the state's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender movement, while also forging new partnerships with straight allies and religious organizations.
Congregation Beth Israel was very involved on the No on 9 and endorsed the No on 9 campaign and raised money.
Across the country, attitudes and legislation have evolved in ways that once seemed unimaginable.
If we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well.
In 2015, a U.S. Supreme Court ruling made same-sex marriage legal across the country.
Be very proud of 2015. Be very proud to be a part of the gay community 2015. Be very proud. Now you have a chance. You can love who you want to love, and you can marry who you want to marry.
Younger people in the community, in the gay community, have not a clue. They can go anywhere. They can walk holding hands down the street, in or out of drag. We made it acceptable.
There's a lot of freedom today that came from other people that broke through the barriers, and Darcelle was one of those people. We take for granted that there's acceptance and celebration of our gay and lesbian and transgender community. Boy, that wasn't true 25 years ago.
Represented by the Dairy Queen herself of Portland, our boss and our friend, yes ma'am, Darcelle XV. Our legacy is yours.
I don't think there'll ever be another Darcelle. Darcelle will be remembered for years to come as that wonderful female impersonator with the bar who supported everybody.
Please join us in the rows.
She supported the lesbians, she supported the gay men, she supported transsexuals. Darcelle supported everybody. And everybody was free to come to Darcelle's bar. And I think she'll always be remembered for that.
In the spring becomes the rose.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
There's more about Darcelle 15 on Oregon Experience Online. To learn more or to order a DVD of the show, visit opb.org. Funding for Oregon Experience is provided by Arlene Schnitzer and Jordan Schnitzer, the Oregon Cultural Trust, the Clark Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.